The notes of a melancholic waltz drifted through Michael Carter's memory. "Dance with me," before he notices. Those were the words, soft and urgent, that had first pulled him onto a dance floor years ago, drawing a lonely single father into an unexpected orbit. Nothing in his life had ever been quite the same again. At 38, a high school literature teacher, Michael had built a quiet life, meticulously ordered around his daughter, Sophie. Saturdays ended with lesson plans rustling on the table, and the sweet echo of Sophie's laughter drifting down the hall. Years had passed since his wife's absence carved that deep, silent chasm in his world. He had settled into routines, comfortable enough to fill the vast quiet, yet never quite touching the ache that lived beneath. When a friend, struck down by the flu, begged him to fill in at a vineyard wedding outside Seattle, his first instinct was no. The suit in the back of the closet was a relic. Mingling among strangers under sparkling lights felt like stepping onto a stage where everyone else already knew their lines. But guilt and politeness won. He drove toward Woodinville that evening, radio humming low, Sophie's playful texts lighting up his phone. A warm tether reminding him he was never truly alone. The vineyard unfolded like a scene stolen from a film. Lanterns hung like suspended amber tears, glowing softly against the deepening twilight. Guests spilled across the lawn, champagne flutes catching the light, laughter bright and effortless. Michael adjusted the borrowed tie. Already longing for his worn denim, he found refuge near the bar, ordered a club soda, promising himself he would stay just long enough to be polite. Weddings didn't frighten him. They simply reminded him of a life once lived, a life now lost. He stood there, tapping a quiet reply to Sophie's bedtime story reminder. This was his world now. Whispered tales in the dark, spelling tests, the scent of slightly burnt toast in the morning. A good world, nurturing, safe, yet undeniably small. As the band began a slow, romantic sway, couples glided across the polished floor with effortless grace. Michael stayed on the edge, comfortable in the role of observer. He had grown used to the sidelines. That was why the evening felt like an obligation, something to endure rather than savor. Still, something in the rhythm, the hushed closeness, the shared breath, stirred a faint tremor inside him. A longing he quickly pushed away. He checked his watch, calculating the exact moment a polite exit might be possible. For Michael Carter, this night was meant to be nothing more, a brief courtesy, then home to Sophie. He harbored no expectations, no flicker of anticipation. Certainly, no hint that walking into a room of strangers could quietly rewrite the rhythm of a life he thought was already set. But life, in its strange, stubborn wisdom, loves to write the chapters we have never planned. Just as he prepared his silent escape, something shifted. The music played on. Couples turned beneath the lanterns. Yet the entire room seemed to pause. She entered then, Olivia Bennett. Though he did not yet know her name, it wasn't only the burgundy dress that caught him, flowing softly, clinging like quiet elegance. It was the searching in her eyes, not seeking connection, seeking escape. She was late, stepping into a scene where everyone else had already found their rhythm. Her heels clicked across the stone with practiced confidence. Yet beneath it, Michael sensed a delicate tremor. He told himself he no longer noticed such things. Life had pruned that from him, anchored him in grocery lists and bedtime routines. But he noticed her. He couldn't not. The lantern light caught the deep whine of her dress. And for a moment, she looked like someone stepping out of an old, beloved photograph. She took a champagne flute, held it carefully, never quite lifting it to her lips. She lingered at the edge of the dance floor, body angled away from the crowd, bracing. Michael shifted at the bar, pretending to read his phone. But his eyes kept returning to her. There was no reason for it. She was a stranger, yet something in her solitude felt achingly familiar. He knew that feeling. Standing in a crowded room, yet pressed against invisible glass. For one brief second, their eyes almost met. His breath caught. She turned away quickly, jaw tightening, just enough for him to see. He told himself to look away, let the night pass without complication, but he couldn't. Every small movement she made, the soft exhale, the way her fingers tightened on the stem of her glass, felt like lines of a story he suddenly needed to read. And then he saw it. Her shoulders stiffened. A tall man in a navy suit was walking toward her. Deliberate. Eyes fixed. Olivia's grip faltered. For a heartbeat, she looked startled. Lost. Then her gaze swept the room. Desperate. And landed on Michael. Before he could think, she was moving toward him. "Hi," she whispered, breathless. "I know this is insane, but please, dance with me. Just for a minute." Before he notices, Michael blinked. "Wait, what?" Her hand found his, warm, urgent. "You're not with anyone, are you?" "I just need 2 minutes." There was a plea in her eyes, not romance, rescue. He nodded. Before his mind caught up, a fragile smile touched her lips. Real, fleeting, grateful. And then they were on the floor. The band played a slow Sinatra cover, the kind that lingers like smoke. Her hand rested lightly on his shoulder. His arm settled gently at her waist. He hadn't danced since his own wedding. The memory pressed close. But her warmth, the soft hush of her breathing near his ear, pulled him into the present. She didn't look at him at first, eyes fixed over his shoulder, lips tight. "Are you okay?" he asked, voice low. A pause. "Yeah." Then softer. "No, not really." He followed her gaze. The man in the navy suit stood at the edge, arms crossed, staring hard. "That's my ex," she whispered. So quietly the music nearly swallowed it. "We broke up months ago. He cheated, and now he's here." Acting like nothing happened. Michael's hand tightened, just enough to steady her. "Classic wedding move," he murmured. A tiny, surprised laugh escaped her. For the first time, she looked at him. Really looked. Her eyes were warm amber, and the tension in her shoulders eased. Just a little. Two strangers, moving in slow circles beneath glowing lanterns, finding refuge in each other. Not passion? Not yet. Something quieter, something necessary. The courage now to let someone hold you, even for just one song. The music drifted into another slow melody, time stretching soft and thin. Olivia's grip softened. She let her gaze settle on him. "You must think I'm ridiculous," she whispered, dragging a stranger onto the floor to hide. Michael shook his head. Slow. Gentle. "No, I think you're braver than you know." Her lips parted, surprised, disarmed. "Months ago," she began, voice trembling at the edges. "I thought I had everything. I trusted him. Then one morning, the life I thought was mine was already gone. He cheated with someone I knew, someone close. Tonight he shows up, smiling like it never broke me." Michael said nothing at first. He simply let the silence hold her words. Then, quietly, "You don't have to pretend with me." Her eyes shimmered. She blinked fast. "I didn't come here to cry," she said, almost apologetic. "I just wanted to feel like myself again, even if it was only for one song." Michael smiled. Small, kind. "So you picked the least threatening guy in the room." She laughed. Soft. "Real. Exactly. You looked safe. You looked kind." The words landed deeper than he expected. Safe. Kind? He hadn't heard himself described that way. In years. The song played on. Neither of them stepped away. They talked in the spaces between notes. Tiny truths offered like fragile gifts. Old movies, burnt garlic bread, dinosaurs, cruise ships. Nothing earth-shattering. Yet everything felt significant. When the final notes faded and the lanterns dimmed, Michael walked her to the parking lot. Cool night air, grapes, damp earth. She carried her heels in one hand, barefoot on the gravel. Elegant, undone, beautiful. He wanted her name, her number, anything, but the words stuck. At her car, she turned, studied his face, as if memorizing it. Then she rose on her toes and pressed the softest kiss to his cheek. "Thank you," she whispered, breath warm against his skin. "Thank you for seeing me." Before he could speak, she was gone, headlights cutting the dark. Then only the sound of tires on gravel. He stood there a long time, cheeks still tingling. "Thank you for seeing me." The phrase followed him all the way home. Weeks passed. Her memory lingered, like a melody he couldn't shake. In class, reading passages about chance encounters. Her face rose unbidden. At the grocery store, he scanned aisles without meaning to. Foolish, he told himself. Just one night. But it didn't feel finished. Then, one gray Seattle evening, the school gym glowed with paper lanterns and children's voices. Reading night. Sophie tugged his sleeve. Dad, that lady's dress looks like a raspberry. He turned, and his heart stopped. Olivia. She froze too. Eyes wide, uncertain. Olivia, he breathed. Michael, she answered. Smile blooming slow and real. Sophie looked between them. You know her. Olivia knelt, eye level with his daughter. You must be Sophie. I hear you like dinosaurs. Sophie beamed. Who doesn't? And just like that, the walls dissolved. By the end of the night, Sophie clutched a signed book, giggling, and Olivia leaned close to Michael. I wasn't sure I'd ever see you again. I was hoping I would, he said, voice steady, certain. The thread that had dangled weeks ago was tied again, not with fireworks, but with fluorescent lights and the laughter of children, and something undeniably real. After that, Olivia became part of the rhythm. A warm smile in the hallway. Coffee slipped onto his desk on hard days. Books left in his mailbox. Notes in elegant handwriting. Sophie adored her instantly. Can we keep her? She whispered one night, mouth full of Olivia's cookies. Michael laughed, surprised by how easily it came. Olivia laughed too, and something shifted. Evenings on the porch, tea steaming. Quiet truths shared after Sophie slept. Crayon drawings on the fridge. 3 stick figures holding hands. Dad, Sophie, Olivia. The house felt brighter, not because anything grand had been added, but because someone belonged there. One chilly night, after Sophie was asleep, they sat on the porch steps again. Olivia pulled her knees to her chest. You know, she said softly, that night at the wedding, I didn't just grab your hand to escape him. I grabbed it because you looked like you understood what it feels like to be alone. In a room full of people, Michael's breath caught. I do, he said, voice thick. I know exactly what that feels like. She turned to him, eyes searching. That's why I trusted you. You weren't trying to impress anyone? You were just trying to get through it. He nodded, slow. Most days, that's still what it feels like. She reached for his hand. I'm tired of pretending I'm fine, she whispered. You don't have to, he answered. Not with me. They sat in silence, fingers laced. Loneliness shared instead of carried alone. Sometimes the bravest thing is simply admitting you're not okay and letting someone sit with you in it. Spring came, another wedding at the same vineyard. This time Michael wasn't alone at the bar. He stood with Olivia's hand in his. Sophie twirling nearby in yellow dress and pure joy. When the bouquet flew, Olivia stepped forward, not shy, not hesitant. She raised her hands, caught it clean. Sophie cheered so loud heads turned. Michael raised a brow, grinning. On purpose, absolutely, Olivia said, eyes sparkling. Some things are worth catching. Later, on the familiar porch, Sophie asleep in the back seat with flowers in her lap. Olivia leaned against his shoulder. You saved me that night, she whispered. Michael kissed her hair, soft, slow. You saved me too. I just took longer to see it. Love hadn't begun with fireworks. It began with kindness, with one desperate hand reached out on a crowded floor, and the quiet, stubborn grace to never let go.